All right, let's talk about business planning. And no, I don't mean some dusty old chapter in a textbook you have to memorize. We're talking about a real world tool, a genuine workplace superpower that can make you stand out from day one in your first job. It's called Sales and Operations Planning, or S&OP for short.
So, why am I calling it a superpower? Well, to really get it, you first have to see the absolute chaos it's designed to fix. So, picture this. You're in a high-stakes meeting. All the department heads are there. You can feel the tension in the room. And believe me, the blame game is in full swing. You've got the marketing team on one side, totally frustrated, going, "We keep running out of our best products. How are we supposed to hit our sales numbers?" And then from the other side of the table, supply chain fires right back. "Well, maybe if your forecasts weren't so terrible. You sold 30% more than you told us you would." It's just a classic corporate standoff, right? So, who's right? I mean, who's really at fault here? And, the truth is, they both kind of have a point. But pointing fingers doesn't actually solve anything, does it? The real question, the one that matters, is how do you fix this fundamental disconnect between what a company can physically make and what it's trying to sell?
And this is where you come in, armed with the Peacemaker's playbook. Because at its core, that's what sales and operations planning is all about. It's about creating one single, agreed-upon plan that finally gets everyone, marketing, supply chain, finance, everyone pulling in the exact same direction. Okay, so what is S&OP, really? Well, at its heart, it's a process for balancing supply and demand. It's that simple. The goals are straightforward, but man, are they powerful. Give customers better service, but with less inventory tying up cash. Shorten up those lead times. Stabilize your production. At the end of the day, it's about taking all that chaotic finger pointing and turning it into a smooth, coordinated effort. And check this out, because where S&OP fits in the grand scheme of things is absolutely crucial. Think about it. It's not the big, lofty 5-year strategic plan, and it's definitely not the nitty-gritty daily to-do list. No, S&OP is the critical bridge right in the middle. It's the thing that translates those big picture goals into what we're actually going to do this quarter and the next and the one after that. Okay, so how does this playbook actually work in the real world? Well, we all know that customer demand goes up and down. It always does. The trick is you have a whole toolkit of strategies to meet it. So let's break down the main approaches you can take. Okay, so first up, you've got two pure strategies. On one hand, there's the chase strategy. Think of it like a rideshare driver. When demand is high, you bring on more drivers. When it's slow, they go home. It's super flexible, right? But it can get really expensive and it's tough on morale. Then on the complete other end of the spectrum, you've got the level strategy. This is like a power plant. It just runs at a constant, steady rate, day in and day out. Super efficient. But you'll either build up a mountain of inventory when things are slow, or you'll be dealing with back orders when demand spikes. But here's the secret. The real pro tip: you almost never use just one of these. The real magic, the art of it, is creating a mixed strategy. This is where you get clever. You use tools like overtime to handle a short peak, or maybe you subcontract some of your production to a partner to get through a big surge. You're doing all this without the huge costs and headaches of constantly hiring and firing people. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory from a book. This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's look at a concrete example that shows you just how valuable this skill is. Because picking the right mix of these strategies, it can have an absolutely massive impact on the bottom line. This is what I'm talking about when I say workplace win. So just take a look at these 4 plans for the JC Company. Plan 1, that pure chase strategy, costs over $920,000. Ouch. Okay, Plan 2, the level strategy, that's a bit better, around $800K. But now look at Plan 3. This is that smart mix strategy. We keep the workforce constant and just subcontract the extra demand we can't handle. And the total cost? A little over $530,000. I mean, that is a massive difference. We're talking about a difference of more than $390,000. And get this, that money was found not by inventing some groundbreaking new product, but just by planning smarter. When you're in an internship or your first job out of college, this is the kind of analysis that gets you noticed. It proves you're not just stuck in a silo. You're thinking about the entire system and the company's financial health. Okay, so everything we've talked about so far is about reacting to demand. But what if what if you could take it a step further? What if you could actually shape demand itself? Now we're getting into the pro moves. This is called yield management.
So yield management is all about one thing: getting the most possible revenue from a fixed, perishable capacity. Think about it: airline seats, hotel rooms, concert tickets. If a plane takes off with an empty seat, that revenue is gone forever. So what you do is use variable pricing, different prices at different times, to shift some demand from your peak times to your off-peak times. You're basically smoothing out your demand curve to make it more predictable and profitable. Now, this strategy is incredibly powerful, but it's not a silver bullet for every situation. It works best when you can basically check a few boxes. Can you segment your customers, students, business travelers, etc.? Do you have high fixed costs? Is your inventory perishable, again, like that hotel room for tonight that you can't sell tomorrow? Can you sell it in advance? And is demand all over the place? If you start seeing these conditions line up, that should be a huge light bulb moment for you to think, maybe we can use yield management here. I know what you're thinking. This sounds like something only a giant airline or hotel chain can do. But the logic, the core idea, applies pretty much everywhere. So let's bring it way down to earth. Think about a simple local barber shop. How could you apply this really powerful concept there?
And here's the workplace win. It's your idea. You notice the shop is totally dead on Tuesday afternoons. So you suggest, hey, what if we did a happy hour price for haircuts during that slow time? See what you did there? You're not just randomly cutting prices. You are strategically using price to shift demand and maximize the revenue you get from your barber's time. That is yield management in action. It's a brilliant, simple idea that makes a real impact.
All right, so let's bring this all home. As we wrap up, I want you to remember this. What we've talked about isn't just a bunch of terms and formulas to memorize for an exam. When you really understand S&OP, you gain a completely new way of seeing how a business works. You've basically just unlocked a new workplace superpower. It's the ability to step back and see the entire system, not just your individual department silo. It's the skill to understand and balance the competing priorities of marketing, finance, and the supply chain, and to speak all their languages. It's the analytical horsepower to cut through the noise, model the different options, and find the most cost-effective path forward. And ultimately, it's the ability to stop the blame game, build consensus, and deliver a quantifiable win for the entire organization.
So there you have it. You've got the playbook now. You have the tools to walk into that corporate crossfire and turn it into a perfectly coordinated plan. So the only question left for you is, what process around you are you going to optimize first?